How to get started in real estate investing if you don't know where to start. Hey everyone, I'm Clayton Morris, longtime real estate investor, but I understand that a lot of people get overwhelmed with real estate. They get overwhelmed with kind of starting out. Where do we start? Where do we go? Right? It can seem a little daunting when you're just getting started, and there's so many different resources and strategies out there. Today, we are going to break it down for you how I built financial freedom, how I was able to quit my 9-to-5 job, buy and hold real estate. That's what I did. My wife and I did. And because of that, we're able to help others learn about how to do all of this just like we did. So on today's show, we're going to get back to basics. We're going to make it easy for you to understand. But first, I kind of want to start with a little bit of a story because, when I first started out, I didn't know anything about real estate investing. And I made some huge mistakes at the beginning part of my life. So if you are young and you are watching this video, much love to you right now because holy smokes, you are in a way better position than I was. Now, when I started out, I ended up getting into massive credit card debt. I was renting properties across the country, and I had bought a couple of cars, so I had a lot of debt. I had a car payment, I was in credit card debt, I wasn't making very much money. And then there were others who I knew about who were being very smart with their money, who were investing in rental properties. I only learned this later. And I understood, I was like, how are you able to just live on easy street when you are in your 30s? How is that possible? And here I was clawing my way out of debt. I ended up being $75,000 in debt at one point. I had gone through a foreclosure. I did some speculative things, speculative land projects and other stuff, and just didn't understand it. It wasn't until I was in my 30s when I actually got a handle on financial freedom. I understood, okay, I understand real estate investing is the #1 way to build wealth, but how do I do it? So I sought out some mentors, followed the right path, and the very first few properties that I ever bought, those single-family properties in the Midwest that cash flow about $800 a month, those are the exact same properties that I still buy today. They cost $50,000, $60,000 all in after the renovations. That's exactly what I buy. That makes up the bulk of my portfolio. And heck, that's what my company does as well. My company, Morris Invest. So if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel. Please smash that like button because we are going to deep dive some strategies to help you get started with real estate investing today. And by the way, if you want to book a call with our team, it's easy. The links are below this video. All right, so let's start out. #1, the very first step in this process is you have to know what your freedom number is. What is the freedom number? It's your goal. But more importantly than just a random goal, it's based on actual numbers. So the freedom number is the thing that changed my entire life. How many of you know that story from watching this channel? Know my freedom number story? It is the thing that changed my life. My wife came to me one night and said, "We cannot pay our mortgage. We can't do it." I had to dig through my closet and find stuff to sell on Craigslist in order to pay our mortgage that particular month. We didn't have a handle on our expenses. We didn't know what our goals were, and therefore we didn't have a roadmap to success at all. We were just barely treading water, and I'm sure a lot of you can probably relate to that. And if you can't relate to that, I'm hoping you're watching this video because you want to prevent that from ever happening. So that's my goal. If you can prevent that from ever happening, hallelujah, then I have done my job to help you. So what is the freedom number? Well, my wife said, well, what if we took the 2 rental properties that we do own, they were cash flowing about $800 a month, and we figured out how many of those it would take us to cover all of our monthly expenses. And she said, okay, I'm going to go back upstairs and continue to do some laundry. I said, no, you're not. You're not going anywhere. That's the eureka moment. And I jumped up and I grabbed my marker for my whiteboard in my office and I said, that's it. We are going to figure this out. How to build financial freedom. What is our freedom number? So I give away a cheat sheet for free. We have a link below that you can grab. It's totally free. It's 3 pages. It's how to find your freedom number. That's that simple. And it's a PDF. You download it, and it walks you through how to figure out your monthly expenses, okay? You want to figure out, first of all, your monthly expenses for about 6 months of your life. Don't give me fake numbers. Are you hearing me? I don't want fake BS numbers. I want real numbers. What do I mean? Well, often people make up a budget and they think that they spend this amount of money on groceries, or they think that they only go out to eat once a month, but they go out 4 times. I want you to go through your credit card statements. I want you to look at those items on your bills, your monthly spend bills, and I want you to take 6 months of that, and I want you to scan down and really be honest with yourself. I spent this much on Netflix, this much on groceries, this much on gas, this much on going out to the movies, and add it all up. And I want you to take the average of those 6 months. What is it? Is it $5,000 a month? Is it $6,000 a month? That is the number that it costs to run your family every month. School bills, groceries, gas, all of that. And then we are going to figure out how many rental properties it would take to cover that monthly expense. So for me, I think it ended up being about 12 properties. For other people that we talk to when they call our company, it's 6 properties, 5 properties. Depends on where you live, how much expenses you have in your life, right? You may have 6 kids. You may have 1 kid. You may have no kids. This will be a moving target. And as we added another child to our lives, that freedom number went up a little bit. So we need to find out where we're going. What is your freedom number? So download it for free. You can go to morrisinvest.com/freedom, or you can click the link below and grab it for free. And just spend some time with your partner, your spouse, and go through it and figure it out. Now, is your freedom number 12 properties? Great. Then you have an idea of what to zero in on. I want you to then take a Post-it note out, write 12 on it, and slap it everywhere around your house. When you wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom, on your mirror of your sink and see that 12, because that's what you're going to focus on getting to. You don't need to be at 50. You don't need to be at 70. You don't need to be at 2. It's different for every person. This goal is so important for you as a family to figure out. Once you hit that number, guess what? You're financially free. Your safety net is now in place. Regardless of your employment, your safety net every month from the cash flow from those properties coming in is covering your monthly expenses. That's financial freedom. So step 1 is to figure out that goal. Number 2 is ROI. Number 2 in this process is to focus on return on investment when you're starting in this journey. So before we even start looking at rental properties or hiring contractors or finding a property management company or any of that, we'll get to those steps in a few moments. You need to focus on return on investment. What neighborhoods will you be in? Okay, where are you going to go that's going to give you the highest return on investment? I was a guest on a podcast yesterday. Wonderful, wonderful woman. She is out in California. She lives in Sedona. And she says, just the same size properties, Clayton, that you buy, like 900 square feet, 1,000 square foot homes, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. That's like my bread and butter. She could get in that part of California for like $500,000. And I like to play a little game where I live in New Jersey. I would never buy a property in my backyard because the return on investment is not there. So I'll drive around and I'll see the exact same size house here in New Jersey that I would buy in the Midwest, Michigan, Tennessee, Texas, other spots of the country where it's more affordable and the ROI is higher. And I'll see the same house. I mean, it's like brick for brick. It looks like the same stuff that I buy, right, in Michigan. 900 square feet, 3-bedroom, 1 bath. And it'll cost, I'll look on Zillow or some other thing, and it'll cost like $400,000 in New Jersey. Just drive, 10, 15 hours away, and guess what? Prices are totally different. So I'm going after return on investment. What is going to be the number that I generate every month from cash flow? And I like to be between about 7 and 12% net return on investment. If you want a deeper dive into ROI, we have a whole video on how to figure out return on investment. So I'm not going to go into all the prickly little details about the math formula that I use, but I do walk you through it with a whiteboard, and you can see that in our other videos. So please check out the video on return on investment to help you figure that out. That's what I look for. Now, there's so many people that get started in real estate investing, they don't think about return on investment. They just think that, if I buy a $300,000 house, that's going to be fine because it'll cash flow $1,500 a month with a tenant. My mortgage is $1,300 a month, and I'm golden. No. No. Remember, rent does not keep up with the cost and value of a house beyond $150,000. So if you spend more than $150,000 on a single family home, not going to do it. Okay, your return on investment is likely not going to be there. So pay attention to ROI. That's what we're going after. That means that the best homes might not be in your backyard. Therefore, you might need to work with a company like ours, or reach out to real estate agents in different parts of the country, or reach out and look on Craigslist in different parts of the country, or reach out and find other sources to find properties. But it might not be in your backyard if you live in San Francisco. I am sorry to say. All right, number 3 on my list, when you're getting started and you don't know where to start, number 3 is you cannot do it alone. You cannot become a real estate investor in a vacuum. You can't do this alone. You can't do this solo. You have to build a team, okay? You have to lean on other people and even mentors, quite honestly. I hope maybe that this channel provides some mentorship for you, and I'm blessed that you're here and you watch this channel because I like to be able to help you in as many ways as I can. But the bottom line is you're going to have to find real estate agents at some point. You're going to have to find a property management team at some point. You're going to have to find a great legal team to help you set up your LLCs and those items. You're going to need a great accountant eventually. You're going to need contractors that you can lean on. You cannot do this alone. And when you try to do it alone, you will fail. Okay? I like to say there really are no such people as self-made people. Okay, we've all had mentors. We've all been taught. So no one lives or grows and becomes successful as an entrepreneur by themselves. Gary Vaynerchuk, Lewis Howes, you name it, Robert Kiyosaki, all had mentors. Robert Kiyosaki, rich dad, poor dad. He was taught by his rich dad how to build wealth. So I would encourage you to go out to local meetups, in your town, and all you need to do is go to meetup.com and find local real estate meetups in your backyard and start to make those connections if you want. Or if you're actually investing out of state and looking at those areas, reach out to local property managers, start to have those conversations, start to build your team. Do you have a reliable contractor, etc.? We're going through that right now. And, I made the mistake, I don't know if it's a mistake, but an area of New Jersey that I actually did buy 10 properties. We have a couple of evictions. We need to do some tenant turnovers. I'm being charged an arm and a leg right now for the costs associated with some of these rehabs. And I know that I'm being ripped off. So guess what? I'm going down there in a week, and I'm going to be meeting with a number of different contractors, and I'm going to have them bid against each other. I'm going to develop those relationships because I want a long-term relationship with John or Sam or whomever to be able to say, hey, look, you'll work with me, give me a good deal on the prices on getting these properties fixed up and turned over. I'm going to work with you for a long time. That means that when I need the roof on this one fixed, I'm calling you because we've developed this relationship. So it's all about building these relationships. You cannot do it alone. Number 4 on my list, get your partner on board. This is very important. Very important. If you are a man, husband, whatever, sitting there watching this right now, and I know we have a lot of men who watch this channel, I need you to get your spouse, your wife, your partner, I don't care who it is, to start watching this video as well. You both need to be on board. You cannot have trains going in 2 different directions, okay? You can't be like passing in the night. One person has one goal and the other person has another goal. You need to be on board together. Now, my wife and I have a great partnership because I'm the ideas person. I know where value is in properties, right? I find great deals. That's what I help our clients do. I'm able to go out and get great deals. I have a good sense of that. That's how I've been able to build up my portfolio. My wife is very good with the spreadsheets, okay? She's very good with the details. And so when I come to her with a large idea, we're able to implement it because she then is like Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. She will be able to zero in on the dollars and cents in the spreadsheets, where I am the sometimes head in the clouds, but I come up with the ideas and then we implement. Your partner needs to be on board if you are going to invest in real estate, okay? You cannot do this by yourself, and you're going to be climbing a mountain if you try to do it against your partner. I do hear from a lot of people who write to me and say, my husband he doesn't get it. What do I do? We have a video on that whole question on how to get your partner on board. We have a great podcast. If you also don't listen to the audio podcast, we have separate content there called the Investing in Real Estate Podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, wherever podcasts are sold. They're free, by the way. But we talk about this strategy more deeply there, and Natalie and I have a really good discussion about it. So I would encourage you to check out that resource if you have a spouse, a partner who is struggling to get on board with your investing journey. One of the things, though, that you can do is sort of gently nudge them in the direction of having to check out these videos. Just put one on here and there and let them start to listen to it. Maybe in the background while you're making breakfast or something. Just put it on your iPad and hit play. And that person may start to hear some things that will clue them in and may make a shift in their lives. All right, number 5 on the list is money. I know this is the hard one. Everyone's going to get stopped right here. You think, oh, I can't go any further. I have no money. I don't know what to do. Stop it. Money is just a manifestation. So in this process of buying rental real estate, getting started, you're going to need money. You're going to need financing, cash on hand, any number of ways that you can get money. So let's break down a number of different ways. And I've certainly walked you through this on our channel before, but you could start with something simple like the cash on hand in your savings account, okay? Maybe using a portion of that as a down payment on a property, or you buy the property outright for cash, which is what I did when I started. That way I had no debt service on those properties, and the full cash flow coming in from those properties was golden, was gravy. You can work with local banks. We are doing a refinance right now on one of our rental properties in Michigan. The local bank there has been phenomenal. They've been great. So we've been able to roll that into a 30-year note, and we will have the tenant paying down that note every month, and it's not money coming out of our pocket. You can buy a property for cash and then refinance it, pull that money back out again, and then rinse and repeat and roll it and roll it. You can borrow from your 401k. Not withdraw from your 401k, borrow from your 401k as a loan to yourself. That, yes, you do pay back out of your payroll, but it's your own money. And you can borrow from it as a bank of you that enables you to buy a performing asset. You can use a service like Fund and Grow. If you go to our website, you get $500 off just by signing up, and they'll give you 0 interest credit cards, which is a phenomenal way of doing it. 0 interest credit cards. They'll give you like $50,000, $100,000 in with these cards. So if you go to morrisinvest.com/funding, you sign up with them. There's a sign up fee with them, but then they only charge you that if they get you the money. So if they can't get you the money, which is rare, then you get your money back. So you could get like $100,000 with unsecured credit and then buy 2 properties like that, or 3 properties like that, or 4 properties like that. You can go to different private money lenders that exist out there, like Lima One Capital or Lending One, on and on and on. There are so many lending sources available for people who have good deals. So we're going to get to the deal part of this in a second. But remember, we need to get an idea of how you're going to pull this money together. We were having a great discussion yesterday in one of our live streams with somebody in the Financial Freedom Academy with us who has multiple different revenue sources. They've got money in savings, they've got money in equity in one of their properties, they're thinking about doing a 1031 exchange. There's no shortage of ways to get cash. And by the way, there's so many private lenders out there who want to lend you money. There's so many people out there that have just beaucoup bucks sitting there, and they would love to make a 5% return or 6% return or a 7% return. If you were able to bring them a deal, here's the deal, I'd like to buy this property, would you lend me the money at 7% interest? It's about 2 points higher than the prime rate is right now. But hey, guess what? You don't have to then deal with a bank. You can deal with Uncle John. There's so many ways. Don't be limited by your thought that I have no money, I don't know where to get started. Okay, you're only limited by your lack of imagination. There's so much money out there. Do it. No excuses. Number 6 on my list is start to make offers, okay? We're finding properties. We're going to be working with local real estate agents. We're going to be, working with a company like ours at Morris Invest, or, you drive by and you call a for sale by owner sign in your neighborhood. Great, whatever. I don't care how you do it. You've got to start making offers. When you start to find these properties, these deals, after you've done my ROI formula at the beginning, following the return on investment formula, making sure that you're not overpaying for a property, making sure that the return on investment and cash flow is there, okay? And making sure that you've done your due diligence about the neighborhoods that you're investing. Then you just got to start making offers, okay? You've got to put pen to paper and do it. I remember when I first got started doing wholesaling in real estate, and I knew that I wanted to be successful at this. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to make 100 phone calls a day, which is what I did. And I'm just going to start sending offers to these people. If I got hung up on, they told me they weren't interested, guess what? Guess what I did? I got out my contracts, my purchase agreements, and I just said, I wrote it out, even though the person hung up on me, and I sent them an offer on their property. How many of those do you think I ended up buying? A lot. You know why? Because you're the only person sending them a purchase agreement. You're the only person making an offer on that property. And then that offer sits there on their desk, right? Maybe it's a month. They don't do anything with it. They're like, oh, how the nerve of that guy sending me a purchase agreement for my house that needs total renovation, but I'm just hanging on to it because I'm lazy, right? The nerve of that guy. Guess what? You're the only one that sent him a purchase agreement. And guess what? They're going to call you. And that happens repeatedly. Some of my biggest deals came from just making offers, just putting pen to paper, putting a price down that makes sense for both the buyer and the seller, right? And getting it in the mail, getting it to the real estate agent, making offers. I make offers all week. Left and right, I'm making offers on properties. That's how you do it. Not all of them are going to hit. Probably 98% of them won't hit. All you need is 2%, right? All you need is that one deal to grab. So just start making offers. And you can work with sellers in unique ways too. You don't just have to pay cash for property. Property gives you keys. Now you own property. No, you might say to the seller of that property, hey, I was driving by this property. I saw a for sale by owner sign out in the yard, and I'd like to make you an offer on the property. What do you want? What do you need for the property? What do you want for the property? Oh, I want $120,000 for the property. Oh, okay. Well, maybe make them an offer on seller financing. Why are you selling the property? Oh, I'm a tired landlord. I've got 10 properties. I'm just getting rid of this one. Oh, okay. Well, would you consider selling it on terms? Well, what do you mean? Well, why don't you be the bank? That way you don't get hit with a large capital gains bill, right? If you're going to sell me the property for $120,000, you could get dinged with a big capital gains bill, a tax bill at the end of the year. Why not issue me a note at 6% for 15 years, and I'll pay you. Now I own the property. That seller doesn't get hit with a huge tax bill, and if he's a smart investor, he knows that makes sense. Seller financing happens all day long. Okay, so you can get unique about the ways in which you're making offers. If you make one through a realtor, you can offer to say to the realtor, hey, I'd be interested in doing seller financing. If the seller wants to, let me know. I'd be game for it. Even if it's at 8%, then you don't have to deal with a bank and you don't have to come out of pocket with your own cash. It's brilliant, right? So don't be limited in your approach to this. You're only limited by your imagination. There's no shortage of ways to start making deals. Number 7, do the paperwork, okay? You're going to have to fill out the title company paperwork. You're going to have to go to closing. You're going to have to do all of these things to get things done. You're going to have to get insurance on the property. We've got a great insurance partner that we work with on all of our properties. Link below. We will have that in the description below so you can check out our insurance partner that we use on all of our properties. It's affordable, it's cheap, and they're the best. You're going to get insurance on your rental property. You are going to work with the title company to get the title work done. You're probably going to get an inspection on the property, your choice, or if you need to with the bank, etc. So you have all of these things. You know exactly what you're working with. Maybe you've already lined up a contractor, so you know how much work needs to go into the scope of work. You're getting all that paperwork together. So the paperwork's the boring part. It's the pain in the butt part. It's the essential part. So when you get all of these things in your deed lined up later, it's all taken care of. Number 8 is to find a property management company. I repeat, I do not want you managing these properties yourself, especially if you're out of state, okay? There's absolutely no reason for you to be managing these properties yourself from, 500 miles away. You shouldn't be doing it. And frankly, even if it's in your own backyard, you shouldn't be doing it. Find a property management company. What our company does, we work with a bunch of different property management companies that we vet thoroughly. So they manage my personal properties, and we have a great track record and working relationship with them. So a couple of questions. We've talked about this before on this show, and where we went through what to look for from a property management perspective and making sure that they have a number of doors that they've already been managing, maybe 200 doors. They have a history in that town. They know what to ask for to raise rent from time to time. What kind of background checks and screening process do they go through? What does their technology look like? Do they use a software like AppFolio or others so that you can log in and see your tenant information, leases, and rent information coming into your account? Are they organized? Do they get back to you in a timely fashion when you call them? They're busy. Property management companies have a thankless job. They're managing your properties, for 8 to 10, 12% per month out of your rent. It's not a job I would want to do. So we want our property management team to make money, do a good job, but also be responsive. So yes, they might have a busy office, but they should be able to get back to you answering your questions within 24 hours. That's a good rule of thumb. So finding a good property management company that can manage your property from a remote location. And number 9, close on the property, okay? Don't wait to get a property management company after closing, because now you're sitting there with this property and you're gonna have like this space between when you closed and getting it rented and cash flowing, okay? So close on the property after you find a property management company that you interview. Let them know that in 2 weeks you're going to be closing on this property and you'd like to have it managed accordingly. Great. They'll start the marketing and paperwork and they'll start to get that ball rolling. So you close on the property. It's an exciting day, right? It's an exciting time to actually close. Now you own your first investment property and you can go from there. And then number 10 on my list here is to rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Go out there and do it again. Remember, going back to our freedom number, what does that number look like? Is it 12 properties? Great, now you've got your first one. How do we get the other 11? Let's keep doing it. Do we refinance this property? Do we borrow from some other sources? Do we leverage other things in order to keep that movement going? But you've got to keep rinsing and repeating. That is how you build wealth. And that is how you get started with real estate investing. Yes, there are some things in the middle here, right? Finding great contractors and finding out how much it's going to cost for you to update and renovate this property. But that all comes back to your return on investment, your ROI number, okay? So we need to know that at the beginning. But these are things that as you start to progress, you're going to learn quickly and you're going to become an expert in no time. So I hope you subscribe to the channel and I hope you smash that like button if I've brought you any value at all. Please share this with a partner that you think could use some financial intelligence in your life. And please join our Financial Freedom Academy. The link is below. We have great discussions and help other people build financial freedom as well. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time.